Mr. Gheorghiu, another game at the Olympiad against Antonio Medina.
Yeah, Antonio Medina was one of the best Spanish players in that period. They had a strong team. The Spanish team was very strong. I mean, the first board was Grandmaster Pomar, who was probably one of the, you know, wonder children of the world in that period, together with Rashevsky. And Medina was actually the second best player in Spain. And it happened in these Olympic Games, in the Olympiad from Tel Aviv, that usually I played second board because I didn't play, even if I was twice the Romanian champion and the world junior champion in 1963. I didn't play the final in 63. And the Ministry of Sports decided that I had to play the second board for Romania in
But
that.
what finals? What final?
The Romanian final. I mean
okay.
the Romanian championship. So I didn't play in 63, and because of this, they punished me like this. That I had to play second. Okay, finally it happened to be the very good idea because I realized the second. And
But why you didn't play the finals?
because I played some other tournaments.
You were in other
I was
tournaments.
world champion and I played in Hastings. And in that period, I was invited to
England.
play in England. It was very important, one of the most important tournaments in the world. And I accepted the invitation and I didn't play the Romanian final.
Yes.
So instead of this, it was, in that period, it was a bad idea not to prove again that you are the best Romanian player. It was very important for them. Okay. I won 10 times the Romanian championship, but it wasn't in their idea. It wasn't enough. Okay, it doesn't matter. Right now, it's too late to speak about this. But it was, it
That
was a
was the
period
way.
like this. That was the
Yes.
way. Yeah.
And who played the first?
The first was the Romanian Grandmaster Ghicescu, and he played. Usually, he played very well. But in the second part of the Olympiad, he became ill, and I had to play all the games until the end on the first board, of course. And it was, like playing first board all over the Olympiad. And I realized the norm, and everything was okay. Finally, yeah. Everything was in order, and the Romanian team had a good result at the Olympiad in Tel Aviv in '64. And I had the norm, and everything was okay. Everybody was content, let's say, finally.
All right, so here Medina plays with white.
Medina played with white, and he tried to, some very active play with e4, of course. And I played my Sicilian, as always, Take, knight f6, knight c3, and a6. a6 gives the knight door variation for black, knight door variation. And here white has many moves, bishop g5, bishop c4, h3, g3, f4, many things. Well, he played f4 in our game. f4. This is one of the most active continuations for white. And after e4, you have to play carefully, a few moves now to have an equal game, a normal position. And finally, later on, we'll see what happens, like in our game. Queen c7, is a very good move against the immediate threat e5. White was threatening already the move e5. Okay, Queen c7. Now bishop e2. The alternative was bishop d3 and queen e2 later on. But bishop e2 is another idea. Okay, now black, instead of playing e6 and we come in the Scheveningen variation, I played immediately e5 and the game continues to be very sharp. Now white, of course, he comes to f5 later on. Yeah, f5. Now you take in f5, he takes, and knight c6. Knight c6 is much better than knight bd7. Knight bd7 is a little bit more passive, you see. Knight c6, the knight controls the central square from d4, and later on we'll have a very good tactical idea, for black. Knight c6, castle, yeah. Rook d8. In some positions, we are threatening already the move d5. We'll see in our game later on. Black will be able to play in good conditions on d5, and that gives a very strong possibility, tactical possibility for black. Yeah. Bishop e7, of course, black has to castle himself, no? Bishop e3, castle. And now white has to do something. He wants to come in a tactical way. Medina was a very tactical player, and he tries to do something on the king's side. The first idea, it seems to be quite all right for white, but he comes a move too late, as you will see. Now the alternative was to play here immediately bishop f3 or knight d5. Knight d5 is not very good because you take a knight b4, and black is already winning something, the pawn from c2 at least. So he plays g4, hoping to have time to play immediately afterwards g5, and later on knight d5 was a very strong position for white. G4.
So that was, you said that if he was coming like
Yeah,
that.
if you play immediately knight d5, you take, queen takes, and knight b4, and black is already very well.
Okay, and also bishop
Bishop
here.
f3. It was the alternative. Probably bishop f3 was a good move.
Good move.
Yeah.
So he played g4.
G4.
In order to
break on the if he side. Has time, yes. The next move to play g5, white wins. Because you have to move the knight away, and then knight d5 comes, and the white has a fantastic game. So you have to do something very quickly here. But fortunately, after the move d5, the black can open the game in his favor. Black is now threatening already, very strong d4 with decisive advantage. So what can he do? He must take in e5, or he must play g5. The only two possibilities, nothing else. Yeah.
Let's see.
So he took in e5, and now comes the surprise.
You played anyway.
Yeah. Pardon. Now it's clear. He must capture in f6, because otherwise he loses a piece. He must take in f6, and now he hopes at least to take it in f6 and have time to play immediately knight e4 with some chances for draw. Maybe. Yeah. But now comes the second surprise. After taking in f6, black moves, and he takes in c3, attacking immediately the queen. So what can he do? He has to move bishop in d3, otherwise it's very bad already. And now takes in f6, and now the last hope again, g5. He tries to open the position somehow. Now the second surprise, takes in b2. Now he has to give the exchange. If he doesn't give the exchange and plays finally rook b1, for instance, now, yes. After bishop e5 or even bishop c3, black has the free pawn on b2 winning in all positions. It has no counterplay at all, white. And instead, his king from h1 has a very weak position, on the diagonal. No? Okay, so he takes in f6. Takes, and now, very strong move, rook f8. You give away the pawn from g7, doesn't count. Because if he takes in g7, the king from g8 is very safe, and he loses the bishop from f2. Now, what can he play? Has to move again his bishop from e3. So bishop f4. So now queen a5. The final counter attack for black. White has no attacking moves, and we threaten already queen d5 check and knight d4 or knight d5, and the attack is terrible for black.
Yeah. Knight d4 or
knight d4, knight b4 or knight e5, all three of them.
So centralize the...
Yeah, so it's finished. The position is much too dangerous. He has to take there. Now check, king g1, the only move, and now knight b4, and he resigned. He resigned because he has no moves. The position is terrible. He has no moves at all. Yeah. The bishop cannot move, not in c4, not in e2. He has to allow the possibility to take in d3, and afterwards the threat rook e2 is terrible. Threatening mate immediately.
So any move,
he's losing immediately. Yes. Yeah. So as always, the Sicilian counterattack was deadly. In that game, it was the proof that the Sicilian counter-attack can be deadly also for white, you know.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a very good example of what can happen in Sicilian on the black side, you know, when black is successful. You know?
Exactly, if you play it right.
Yes.
All right, beautiful. Thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.
Very beautiful game, yes. But it's a miniature. The game is not very long, but it's very clear what can happen in Sicilian in good conditions for black, you know. Yeah?